So welcome one and all to an all-new video. In this video we're doing a movie review of a new film that came out at the beginning of this month and is a new Robert Zemeckis directed film. So we're going to go right into that. Before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you miss this video and the other videos I put up. As always people, if you want to enjoy my content here on YouTube, definitely check out my other social media platforms such as X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Patreon. Pretty much post on these regularly, so definitely check them out. As always people, let's get right into this. So welcome one and all to an all-new video. So like I was saying before, we're doing a movie review of a new film that just came out beginning this month. And is a Robert Zemeckis directed film called Here. Yeah. Here. Yeah. The film Here. Yeah. So this film is based off of a book that uses the same kind of premise as the movie does. And basically tells the story of one pivotal point over many, many years of this one piece of land in this particular part of the world. And basically how this film kind of plays out is, you know, basically going back and forth, bouncing back and forth and stuff like that between different time periods. And, you know, is one of those films that is very visually done. It's very CGI. It's very different in its approach to try to show you these different things. And the whole premise of it was just a really clever idea that I thought was, you know, based off of a really interesting little book as well. This story was a really great concept visually for a film. And, you know, overall, I personally didn't care for the film. I thought it could have been better. I thought it could have, you know, taken such a great idea and just made it better and not so... I just found it boring at times. Also, the whole time the movie's going on and how it basically brings in other stories, I didn't care for the storyboarding. I didn't think that was fun. I didn't think that was clever. It's kind of like what all the people that had gripes about the 2003 Hulk film, where it did almost the comic book type of thing. It was very similar to that, but at this time, I don't think it visually did it as well as they did in the Hulk in 2003. It just was that type of film that, you know, unfortunately, it could have been so much better than what it was. And I can see why it's not really getting much traction. I am not hearing a lot of people talking about it. I'm not hearing a lot of chatter about it. And that's too bad because, you know, Robert Zemeckis is an amazing director. And I really enjoy what he brings to his films and what he does and all that kind of stuff. And I think that he has such a great idea of different great movie ideas. And I thought this was a really great idea. And so I'm, you know, really shocked that it could have been executed so much better and could have been a better type of film that brought a lot more fun and could have been more entertaining, I thought. Visually, like I said, it becomes very oversaturated with the CGI, which, you know, I'm usually not a big, you know, person that really knocks that down. But in this instances, it just did not work as well as it could have done. Like, you know, other big budget CGI films, you know, kind of like The Creator or, you know, any of the Marvel films and stuff like that. It did not work as well as it would in those types of films because you got too much natural feeling things in this film and it just didn't work out as well. So like I mentioned, Mr. Robert Zemeckis, woohoo! Mr. Robert Zemeckis, yeah! Mr. Robert Zemeckis! The director of such films as like Back to the Futures, What Lies Beneath, and so forth, directed this film. And I absolutely love Robert Zemeckis. I think he's a great director, he does a great job, he does a really decent job with things, and I think that, you know, he had a lot of great ideas with this film. Now, overall, I didn't think that he did anything bad, but at the same time, I think he could have taken it into a way better direction and gave us a little better ideas without doing the storyboarding for the film. I think that the whole concept of being stationary in the one spot was really clever and a great idea. And I just didn't like that he decided to go with the whole storyboarding like in the actual story. And I just think that made it very confusing at points because one of the persons I was with watching the film, they got very confused because it kept jumping back and forth between time periods and stuff like that, and didn't really give any classification to what the era was and stuff like that. I mean, it was obvious when the Cretaceous period is, it was obvious when the Native Americans were there and so forth, but definitely a lot of the other areas just were not very clear. And so I think that the jumping back and forth didn't really help it, and I think Robert Zemeckis could have done better, making that a little bit more cohesive than he did with how he made the film. Otherwise, I think he did a really great job. I thought all the actors and actresses did a great job in the film. I love that he actually brought in some of his own kids to play different characters in the film, and I think everyone just did a really good job. Paul Bettany was my all-time favorite character in the whole film. He was absolutely fantastic. Him and Kelly Riley's relationship throughout the film was really done well, and I really enjoyed just what Paul brought to his character in that. And I think that Robert got a really great performance out of Paul and given us this really fantastic performance. If you haven't seen anything Robert Zemeckis directed, definitely check out what he did with here. It's definitely worth a watch, definitely worth watching one time, and definitely, something that I think he did a really decent job with, other than those few things I pointed out. But overall, I think he did a decent job. Now, a movie to definitely check out of his that he directed that he did a really phenomenal job with, and is like one of my favorites of his. And he knocked the park out with this film that I absolutely love. And he just did such a, interesting job with the film too, because it was one of those films that's very similar to here, that's a fully CGI type of film. And then, of course, this film called The Polar Express. Yeah! The Polar Express, yeah! And that happens to be 20 years old this year, The Polar Express. Once again, starring Tom Hanks. And this movie is just such a great, concept, such a great film. Very great Christmas type of film, gives you that great holiday cheer, that holiday feeling, makes you love Christmas and stuff like that. And Robert just did such a great job with giving us such a great, visually fun film. At its time, for its CGI work, was so amazing. The music in it, the performances by all the motion capture and the singing in the film was just so well constructed. And I absolutely love what Robert Zemeckis did with that, and giving us a great rendition from an actual, and once again, a book, bringing it to life and giving us this really overly the top amazing film. If you haven't seen anything Robert Zemeckis has directed, definitely check out The Polar Express. He did a really fantastic job. But overall, like I said, I think he did a decent job with here, and it definitely was an interesting film to see. And overall, I think that it's definitely worth at least one watch for its creativity. If you haven't seen Robert Zemeckis directed anything recently, go check out Here in Theaters. Worth a watch. So this movie had a really interesting cast. A lot of people that I have never heard of before, but there were a few people that I have seen in other things and are decent actors and actresses, and I really enjoy all of them. And they all do a really great part, in their films, and they're just decent actors and actresses. Now, to start us off is none of them my favorite in the film, Mr. Paul Bettany. Oh yeah, Paul Bettany. Woo, Paul Bettany, yeah! I absolutely love Paul Bettany. He is so freaking fantastic. Has loved him and so many different things he's done. He was amazing in, as Vision in Avengers Age of Ultron. He was amazing in Infinity War. He was amazing in WandaVision. He's been amazing in a ton of things over the years. And he just is a fantastic, amazing actor. And he has such a great broad range of comedy, action, drama, adventure. He's just really well-rounded. And I remember when the first movie I ever saw him in was A Knight's Tale, and I remember absolutely falling in love with him because he just was so freaking awesome. And I absolutely love just his characterizations and what he brings to his performances. And what he did in here was utterly amazing. He was so on point and so amazing, and you absolutely felt for him through the whole entire film. And you just really enjoyed his performance. You enjoyed his characterization. You enjoyed the type of person he was portraying. And you enjoyed giving that realism to his characterization. I thought that was done so well. And I really enjoyed everything that he brought to his characterization of his character. And I just think he did a really amazing dramatic performance as well, giving us, what it would like to be, a army soldier that, was injured in World War II and basically has to come home and then try to have a normal life after seeing the trials of war and stuff like that. And he just did a fantastic job portraying that. He just was so amazing in this film and the best part of this whole entire film. Now, if you haven't seen Paul Bettany in anything, a great movie to check him out in, that's another great war film that I don't think gets enough credit for how good of a war film it is and just an overall fun film. And that, of course, is the film called Master and Commander. Yeah! Master and Commander. The Far Side of the World. Yeah! This is such a freaking fantastic film. Russell Crowe's in it. Huge, great cast of actors. And Paul Bettany plays one of his people that's on the ship with him. And Paul Bettany is actually the surgeon. And he is just so freaking amazing as a character. The depths that he goes to make it look like he really was, a surgeon from the 1700s. And he just did a great job of bringing that to life, giving us a really well overview of one of those, doctors back in those times. And he looked the part, he acted the part, and he worked so well with all the different actors and actresses throughout the film. And I just really enjoyed everything he brought to it. And I just thought it was such a fantastic performance that I don't think he gets enough credit for how amazing he was. If you haven't seen Paul Bettany anything, definitely check him out in Master and Commander. He was amazing, freaking fantastic. He just absolutely awesome in that film. But overall, he was awesome once again, and here I absolutely loved his character, and I just absolutely loved everything and appreciated what he brought to his character. If you haven't seen Paul Bettany anything recently, go check him out, and Here Now, he was worth the watch. So that brings me to the next person I'd like to talk about that was in the film. And that, of course, is kind of the main woman in the film, the main wife character of Tom Hanks' character, and that happens to be Miss Robin Wright. Oh yeah, Robin Wright, woo! Robin Wright, yeah! Robin Wright, woo! So Robin Wright you might recognize from Unbreakable. You might recognize her from Glass. You might recognize her from Message in a Bottle. You might recognize her from a slew of things over the years. And she has really become a great actress. She's fun to watch. Do I think she's a little over-exaggerated? A little played up for being like phenomenal or anything like that? Yeah, a little bit, but overall I think she does a pretty decent job, and I always do have a fun time, usually in anything I've seen her in, she does a pretty decent job, but sometimes she does get characters where she's kind of become kind of typecasted as kind of this nagging type of woman character, and it just becomes kind of, it rakes your nerves a little bit, and it just kind of gets very irritating. And it's too bad because I think Robin Wright has a lot of potential, and, I think that she does a really good job at that. And, of course in here, her performance is pretty decent, but overall, she ends up becoming that type of character I was just talking about. And I was really sad by that because I thought that, this being so many years later, it'd be something a little different for her and a little better. And it just, overall, it became kind of that similar type of tone of the kind of character she played again. And I was really surprised because I thought she had a lot more talent than that. And, over the course of the film, she wasn't too bad. She had a lot of great moments where she was laughing and cheering and all this kind of good stuff. And she was pretty decent. But overall, the character itself just ends up becoming that same type of irritating character, which was just too bad. And I thought it could have been better. I thought it could have been acted better. I thought it could have been, pushed in the better direction and so forth. And I just, would have enjoyed it a little more if she had been a little different type of a character than what pretty much I always see her play as these types of white characters. And I was just a little disappointed, too, that the fact that, the character becomes very, out of it, not in a good way or anything like that too. And it's too bad because I thought that she would have a better role in the film and it, would be a lot more interesting and more fun and stuff like that. So I just overall didn't think that the characterization was the best, and it just wasn't as entertaining as I thought it was going to be and enjoyable from Robin Wright. Now, if you want to check her out in something that she does a phenomenal job in, is a great film from 1987 called The Princess Bride. Yeah, The Princess Bride. Yeah. Now, she was amazing as Buttercup in this film. I remember this was the first film I ever saw her in, and I absolutely fell in love with her. I thought she was absolutely fantastic as Buttercup. She was so fun. She worked so well with all the different actors in the film, along with, playing the love interest of Carrie Elwes's character. And she just was so good in this, and so pure and so fun. And I just, had a lot of great potential from seeing her in this film, thinking, she's going to become a really fantastic actress. And I just remember enjoying her and thinking she was fun and just carefree and just really amazing this film. And it's just one of her best performances, I think, to date. And she just absolutely always be Princess Buttercup. She was just so damn good. If you haven't seen Robin Wright in anything, definitely check her out in Princess Bride. She did a phenomenal job in that film. But overall, I think that she did an okay job in here. It could have been better. It could have been more enjoyable. It could have been a lot less than like Jenny in Forrest Gump, because that's pretty much what I felt the character almost became towards the end of her, her aging and everything in the film, along with, her relationship with Tom Hanks. And I just think that she could have pulled herself from that and made a different performance and just could have been so much better. Overall, an okay performance. Not the greatest from her, but not too shabby. If you haven't seen Robin Wright anything recently, go check her out, and here, she did an okay job. So what is Here about? Basically, the premise of Here, as I mentioned earlier, is the film takes place from the beginning of the Cretaceous period in this one particular spot. And basically what it shows this particular spot from its beginning to basically to current days, and kind of what this one spot of land goes through over all these centuries. And we basically see the families and the animals and the different people that have lived in this house, kind of what they've been through and kind of who they're supposed to be, and kind of over the years, and see them basically kind of how their lives turn out. Like I said, a great concept, very interesting concept. Just visually, it did not play out as well as I thought it could have. And overall, I think the film itself just was not as entertaining and fun as, like, say, Forrest Gump or anything like that. It just could have been such a better film. And it's too bad because there's such a great cast and a great director and a decent screenwriting. And overall, I felt that the great idea just fell flat and not as good as it could have been. Definitely, like I said, worth the watch to go see it at least once, just to say you've seen it. It was definitely entertaining to an extent, and overall I thought that it had a lot of great potential and was somewhat fun and had some great moments. If you haven't seen Here yet, definitely go check it out on theaters now. See for yourself. What do you think? Was it worth a watch? So that's it for this movie review, guys. Always thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Also, thank you for subscribing. And if this is your first time here, or you have been here before, don't forget to check out any older new videos you might not see mine yet. And as always, people, if you want to show support for the channel, please check out my awesome Patreon page, where everybody that becomes a Patreon member gets access to amazing, exclusive, cool stuff you don't get here on my YouTube channel. So please check that out. And also, a huge shout out to my subscribers. You guys are rocking it. As always, catch you in the next one.